Yo, my name is Nick, and I'm into turquoise. Today I wanted to make a video about drilling into turquoise and making beads out of these nuggets. So there's a couple things about this I just wanted to mention, okay? There's natural turquoise, and there's stabilized turquoise, and if you don't already know, natural turquoise is sometimes chalky. It's like trying to drill through a literal piece of sidewalk chalk. And one way you can tell the difference is that if you get the raw stuff and you start to drill through it and it cracks, or when you go to feel it, it seems to like sort of break off. If it seems brittle, then it is brittle deep down. If it's one thing that applies to the outside of the nugget that you're going to get also applies to the inside of the nugget. So that's a telltale sign before you go drilling into your stuff and it starts falling apart, chipping away on you, and you don't want to ruin it. So if you do get that kind of stuff like I did, you can do that to it. So there's that. So glad you asked. Okay, I'm stabilizing some of the lower grade but beautifully colored Campitos turquoise that I ordered online. And if you want, just comment and let me know if you want to order some of this yourself. Take a look at these beautiful colors. There's a straight vein going through it. Now, of course, just looking at the turquoise raw, dry in my hand when I first got it, the colors were not this vibrant. A lot of people, when they are out there in the mines, like the Addison family, anyone who's mined over the years, they're rock lickers. They lick rocks. You know, you blast them out of the mine, you go around picking them, they tap on them to try and crack them in half. If they see color, they lick it. And the reason for that is because when turquoise is wet or stabilized, it brings out the color. And a good polish can also do that. There's a couple different ways that people finish turquoise with a very light chemical, basically, when they're polishing it without stabilizing it. That also brings out the color. So I'm wearing a couple pieces that I got from Bob Busha at NevadaGem.com. He's a good guy. His prices are pretty fair, but I always get good stuff on him. He sells me Royston turquoise, which has more of the green. They're known for their green, although Royston mine is owned by this family called the Addisons. They have a show on Amazon that you can watch called Turquoise Fever and learn much more about them. But this is really what they're known for, a really nice web, really nice greens. Of course, there's darker greens, and then they have a blue that's more rare. But around those mines are Apache blue, there's a Thunderbird mine, there's Poseidon, Veracite, and this is from Old Man Mine, and then I'm also wearing some Kingman. It's in Canada. The Kingman mine is still producing turquoise. Basically, it's still being mined, and they pump this stuff out. If you want to get some, it's usually stabilized. Either that, or it's finished in a way that makes it real nice and tough. These are pre-drilled nuggets. I got a whole strand of them for about 65 bucks. And all you got to do is search Kingman on Etsy. You'll get to the Kingman mine, and you can order all kinds of beads right from them. But today we're here to talk about drilling. So, before I can drill through this that I just showed you, we have to stabilize it. So inside this jar is 3/4 of a container of epoxy 330. Now, epoxy 330 is what's used in a few different example videos that I've watched. In these tutorials that I've seen, they use the epoxy because there's a few things about it that makes it perfect for turquoise. It's water clear. If you're going to stabilize turquoise using epoxy, you need to get water clear epoxy. There is an epoxy in this and a hardener, and they're both in the same type. Here's what you got. The black one's the hardener, the red one is the sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, molecular connector is what it says. Whoa, man, far out. Now, in order to keep yourself from just like epoxying your turquoise, you're going to want to cut it with acetone. I went to the Home Depot, and I have it in a bag because it's a chemical that you don't want to handle too much. Went to the Home Depot, and I bought that thing of epoxy, and I bought, I bought the epoxy on Amazon, and I bought the acetone at the Home Depot for about $7. It has to be done inside of glass or stainless steel. It will eat through plastic. So don't put this shit in a fucking Gladware container. So about 70% of what's in this jar is acetone, and the other 30% is 15% this, 15% this. That equals 100. Okay. So I leave it in that jar for about 7 days. 7 to 10 days was the directions that I read. And then you take it out of there and you set it down on another surface, I guess I'll say, that is either glass or stainless steel. Because again, you don't want to set it somewhere it's going to damage what you're putting it on. And you let it sit. Turquoise is porous in its natural state as it is taken out of the ground before it's polished, or anyone treats it. It's porous. So when you soak turquoise, you're like steeping it like a tea bag, and it will soak up the epoxy resin, which is cut with the acetone, and the acetone just basically waters it down a little bit so that it can seep into the rock. The epoxy mixture gets in there and it bonds the whole rock. Then you can drill into it. What do you drill into it with? I use something I bought at Walmart. This is a 6-piece diamond drill bit set. Okay? The pieces of it look like this right here. You get all these different points to it. And I use these two primarily to get a hole started. And then these two are good for finishing. I drill through buffalo nickels and things like that. So one thing that is good about having these diamond points is that even if you don't use the ones that I just showed you, I use two for drilling holes into the turquoise nuggets that I have. And then the others I use for other things. So here, I have a buffalo nickel. I get these for about 50 cents. Make sure that they're not in a higher grade buffalo nickel. It's up to you really, but you want to make sure that the coin doesn't have any numismatic value, which means that it wouldn't be collectible as a coin in and of itself as is. In that case, you don't want to mess with it. You'd really want to put that in a nice holder and save that for the future because it might appreciate in value. I buy buffalo nickels that I know are sort of worn down. The horn is really what you want to look for on the back. If the buffalo has a full horn and you can see it come to a point on its head, then the buffalo nickel might be in pretty good shape. That could be like a fine, very fine. It also depends on the date, what the other side looks like, and if it's been cleaned in the past. So there's a lot that goes into it, but you can tell just by looking at a good buffalo nickel if it has a date that is really 1920 and before. There's a couple common dates in there, like 1919, I believe, is a common date. But even then, you want to kind of save those if they're in really good condition. The buffalo's horn is looking good. The cheek and the hairline of the buffalo isn't too worn down, and the cheek and the hairline of the Native American on the front isn't too worn down. We could talk all day about buffalo nickels and how they got the design and the name of the buffalo that they modeled that after, but we're here to talk about turquoise. So here I have a couple of nuggets. I ordered these online, and so I don't know if they're stabilized or not. I don't want to speculate, but this is a nice hard piece of turquoise. It's got a beautiful shine on it. Look at the gorgeous basement lighting I have just shimmering off that bad boy. This hitter right here is another one. I just finished drilling through it. Here's my setup. I have distilled water here that I get out of my dehumidifier in my basement. And the reason I do that is because you want to use that or you want to use spring water. Turquoise can be sensitive. Natural turquoise will rub up against your skin, and the natural oils in our skin will actually cause it to discolor and turn a little bit green. And if it's already green, it'll discolor in another way. And you'll be able to see it on the points of contact of the turquoise that have rubbed up against your skin. They will begin to have a different hue. The shine or the polish on it might start to really wear off a little bit. There's just some telltale signs that your turquoise has been in contact a little bit too long. So you really want to judge if you have like a special occasional piece that you would wear on an occasion somewhere specific. You want to get out there at the store and show some girls and flex on them like, yo, it's good. These rappers talking about big trips. How about some turquoise? Yip. Yippee-ki-yay. That was a Western reference. And the diamond bit will get hot, and the diamond powder is bonded to these drill bits, or Dremel bits. I use a Dremel and a drill. A Dremel is a little bit better because the RPMs is a little bit better. The rotation is nice, whereas on a drill, the drill is working a little bit harder to spin as fast because it's a larger machine. And with the Dremel, it's made to spin nice and fast. It's made for things like this. It's kind of a craft, a very precise tool. You can get this Dremel at the Home Depot. If you're in Canada, you could probably get it at Canadian Tire. If you're down south, you could probably get it wherever the fuck you are down south. But you want to let the diamond do the work. You put minimal pressure on the piece of turquoise, and you dip it in water as you go. I take it you don't have the ability to have like fresh running water just flowing somewhere where you can hold the drill bit and the piece of turquoise under both those simultaneously. If you do, and you have like one of those cat watering hole things, and what I do though is I dip it continually in. I drill, I dip, drill tip, and the turquoise in there, because you'll realize that the turquoise will get a little bit hot if you can feel it through the actual nugget. So the stone will get hot and the drill bit will get hot. And that's when the diamonds that are, set into the drill bit could come loose. And it's not that the diamonds are wearing down, it's that they're becoming unbonded and released from the tip of the drill bit. And I also use an old toothbrush because a lot of turquoise dust is going to be picking up. So with the water, it cools it down and it keeps tons and tons of dust from getting in the air, getting into your nail. And you need that schnoz for other extracurricular activities, like smelling good food. I wear one of these. I also drill different things, I drill moonstone, which is another video, and I use a different mat for that. I use the one with like the dry hole, the dry wall hole in the middle, and you really want something that, like, don't bullshit yourself. Don't get a mask and be like, oh, I'm wearing a mask. The basically like the amount of dust that's getting up in the air that you don't see with your naked eye will get in the sides of your mouth, and you'll just be breathing it in through there. The dust is going to try and find every single which way to get through to where the air is being drawn in. Keep that in mind. Trust me, I had to get the neti pot out, and I was like freaking draining my snot out, you know. So you want to use fresh water. You want to use water from a water bottle, or use distilled water. Nothing that has chemicals in it. Don't use nothing that's got freaking chlorine in it. Don't be drinking out of the hose. A little for me, a little from a turquoise. You don't want to do that. Also, you want to go into your grandfather's stash and get some 1950s glasses like these, but you want to get something that covers like the edges, because I wear glasses and stone's really screwed up, and you know, it turns into like this sort of like turquoisey mud, and it'll just shoot up in little tiny splatters, and your face will become a Jackson Pollock painting. And there's a couple reasons for you. So again, you need nice, as clean as you can get it, water. You need diamond drill bits, and then here's the second part. So if you have these big nuggets, you need to get a diamond plated needle. And those are what I use because I don't have a lapidary machine. You put these in the Dremel, and then you use these to drill into these big nuggets. When you look at the nugget, you really want to try and drill in such a way that you can see what you're going to get out of the rock before you start. And if you're following a vein, you want to know, am I going to try and get a piece out of it that just has a lot of host rock and then one nice blue vein running down the middle? Because that's very appealing. If you haven't already, get on Instagram. Look at what kind of cabochons others are selling and showing off in different styles. You know, take a look at what other people are doing, what's selling. Because like a lot of people like the Addisons, Lane Addison, Tony Addison, they auction off their stuff. And people just comment on one cabochon and one picture on Instagram, and they say that they're going to claim it. They send them a PayPal invoice, and they sell a ton of turquoise just through that operation alone. So you want these diamond wheels. I got some of these off Amazon. Here's one case that they came in. So these are a little bit more rough. You want to look at what grit you're getting. As the grit goes down into the lower numbers, 80 grit, we're talking about freaking like road stone. As the grit gets higher, then we're talking about more polish. Okay, this is 3000, wet or dry. If that's what you want. I accidentally bought wet or dry, but I bought the right thing because God's watching over me, and God wants me to succeed in my turquoise business. I truly believe that. You should be my child. May the Lord be with you. But seriously. And I think that's like the basics. I'll do another video where I'm actually doing it. I'll try and get someone else to hold the camera for me, but I appreciate you watching this. And, I mean, you don't have to like it or subscribe. In fact, I'm not even going to talk about that, because I just want somebody to learn from this. That's all that matters. So, alright. Comment, and I will respond. I get notifications on my phone about your comments, so I'll do my best. Thanks for watching. My name's Nick. I'm in Turquoise.